Okay. Here's part 2. So I'm gonna start from the bottom of the card. Pete Spratt's gonna fight Eric Davila. Gotta go with Pete Spratt. I've actually been really impressed with Pete Spratt lately. I kind of wish the Pete Spratt that's fighting now is the Pete Spratt that was fighting when he was like still in the UFC. He seems to have a lot more veteran savvy. Like when he fought Luigi Forivanti, like he'd be in the bottom and half guard and just spring back up. He's a lot harder to take down now. He's actually really good at getting up from the bottom now. I think it was back in the day, but even more so. It seems like more so now. It's like he finally gets the concept now, like way better than he did then. His hands are still really good, and his kickboxing is still great. But yeah, I've actually been very impressed with Pete Spratt now than like I've ever been. He's been looking really good. So the next fight after that is Daniel Strauss versus Karen Darabedian. The thing with Darabedian, he's coming from the WC. He looked really good against Rob McCullough. I'm gonna pick him to win this, but man, he's gotta watch those arm bars, man. I don't know how this guy keeps like losing to the same arm bar where his opponent is on his back and guard, and like, he gets in an arm bar and then instead of stacking his opponent, he will like sit on his butt and try to kick the guy's arms off, and it's like, there are other techniques you can do besides sit on your butt, which actually secures the armbar even more because now you're in a rested position, like in a position that's going to be hard to get out of. You lose your ability to stack because you're on your butt. And the only direction you can really go is backwards, which like you're not going backwards because this guy's has your arm and he has his legs over your face. It's just not gonna happen. Otherwise though, I hope I really hope he fixes his armbar defense. He's a good fighter. He has some pretty good stand up. I'm pretty sure he works with guys like Gambarian and Hollywood and whatnot. I'm pretty sure he has some pretty good judo. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. Next fight after this is Devin Cole versus Aaron Rosa. Aaron Rosa, he's fought in Strikeforce. He actually currently still fights in Strikeforce, if I'm not mistaken. Elite XC veteran against Devin Cole. I expect Rosa to win. I feel that he's fought some pretty tough guys. I know he's fought like Fejal, Cavalcante, and whatnot. So yeah, definitely expect Aaron Rosa to take that one. Next fight after that is Paul Bradley versus Johnny Reese. I'll probably go with Paul Bradley in this one. I've seen a couple of his fights. I don't really have much else to say about this fight really, so I'm just gonna go with Paul Bradley. After that is Ronnie Man versus Doug Evans for the featherweight title. Doug Evans is coming off a win over Dustin Phillips, and Ronnie Man is coming off a win over Shigeki Osawa in Sengoku. Gonna have to go with Man just because he's fought in Japan. He's kind of Sengoku is a pretty big show. He's fought. Doug Evans has fought some good guys, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna go with Man. To me, it just kind of says a lot if you're fighting any Dream, a Sengoku, a Bellator, a Strikeforce, and whatnot. Especially since he's doing it recently. It just kind of says, that, he has a little more recent big time show experience. And after that, I think it's the main card actually. Brock Larson is going to fight Tarek Saffiedine. I've been impressed with Tarek Saffiedine, man. This kid looks good. I mean, he just fought Nate Moore. He killed Nate Moore. He just wouldn't get taken down. His hands are great. I've been really impressed with Saffiedine. I think he's definitely a prospect in Strikeforce along the lines of a Tyron Woodley. I already think he's ahead of Andrew Gaval and as far as being a prospect goes, and I kind of want to see Saffiedine out of the Challengers series and getting some fights on the big shows. Brock Lesnar, though, tough guy. I mean, he's fought, John Fitch, Brian Foster, he's fought in the UFC, beat Mike Pyle. You know, I mean, you beat some good guys. Brock Larson's definitely no slouch here. Good wrestling, good ground game too. That's the thing. He can take you down and he can submit you. But I gotta go with Safdien. I think I can see Safdien avoiding the takedowns. To be honest, I know it's like if he did it against Moore, then he'll do it against Larson. They're not the same degree of wrestler, but it just I've been really impressed with Safdien. I see a lot of growth in him. So and I actually expect big things from him too, from Safdien. So yeah, definitely Safdien for the win here. Next fight after that is Joey Villasenor versus Daniel Villafort. Villafort's actually fought in the WC against Mike Campbell and the UFC against, I want to say, Jesse Lennox, if I'm not mistaken. So he's fought in the big stage, but so is Joey Villasenor. Quite a veteran. He still fights in Strikeforce. He's coming off a loss to Jacare, but I'm not gonna hold him against a loss against like Jacare. He's like a top 10, a consensus top 10 middleweight who may very well have the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game in MMA right now. Well, Roger Gracie or Hoger Gracie would actually take that title. David Maya might too, but Jacare's up there. So I'm not holding this loss against Jacare against him. I'm gonna go with Villasenor here. He can keep. If he keeps the fight standing, he has pretty good stand up. The other thing is like his ground game's pretty good. He was on the bottom against Jacare and managed to get back to his feet. I was really impressed with that. His cardio is really good too. He doesn't seem to wear down that easily, even if the fight's very active. Villasenor is like Strikeforce's gatekeeper of the middleweight division, and he's also one reason why I feel that the Strikeforce middleweight division is a good division. They actually have a mid-tier gatekeepers, whereas their other divisions has like prospects and like really good fighters, like in welterweight. You have a bunch of prospects, and then you have like Nick Diaz, and KJ Nance is fighting that division. But it's like you have good fighters and prospects. In the middleweight division, you got like a Joey Villasenor, you got a Scott Smith that's in the mid, you got some guys way up there, and Jacare, Tim Kennedy, whatnot, and you have some lower tier guys too. So gotta go with Joey Villasenor on veteran. I feel he has the veteran savvy to win this. And next fight after that is Paul Semtex Daly versus Jorge Masvidal. Most people would probably know Masvidal from being on the receiving end of the submission of the year against Toby Amada, the reverse triangle choke where he was standing and then he just kind of fell and got choked out, and it was pretty awesome. Probably not cool for Masvidal though. Masvidal, he fights in lightweight, and he's moving up to welterweight to fight Paul Daly, Paul Daly's like a short welterweight, but he's thick. That guy's huge. The thing is, and also with Daly, he fought Koscheck, and I was impressed when he was on the ground. Yes, he'd get his back taken, but there are other times when he was in Koscheck's half guard on the bottom, and he'd like recover guard, try and get back to his feet. He seems to be improving his ground game for sure. And the thing is with Koscheck too, Koscheck looks for those two positions. He looks for half guard, and he looks to take the back. That's his thing. And the fact that Paul Daly did as well as he did against Koscheck on the ground, it's just something. He got taken down, but he got taken down like Koscheck. I can't hold it against him. I see Paul Daly probably winning by KO or TKO with his short left hook. That short left hook took out Dustin Hazlett, took out Martin Kampmann. And quite honestly, contrary to what Dana White says, I do expect to see Semtex back in the UFC. He's just too good a fighter. He can really hype up a fight. Really exciting too. He just had the sucker punch. Pretty stupid of him, to be honest. Of course, I think most people wanted Koscheck to get sucker punched anyways, but the fact of the matter is, Daly's a really good fighter. He can definitely do a lot better in short fights. If he doesn't get in the UFC, I can easily see him fighting in Strikeforce and maybe getting an immediate shot against Nick Diaz, or the winner of Nick Diaz versus KG News. The co-main event is Sokadu versus Jason Alexander. Both are coming off wins. Both of these guys are, they kind of are mirror images of each other. They don't have the best cardio. They're really explosive around the first part of the second round, and then they kind of die down. They like to stand and bang. Sokadu, he has a great judo background. I wish he used it a lot more than he did, but he doesn't. Sokadu's stand-up's pretty explosive. He'll go for like a 1-2-3 very suddenly. It's like, he's circle, 1, 2, 3, okay, and then you'll see stuff like that with Sokadu. He uses a lot of energy being explosive on the feet. He doesn't like throw like a lot of jabs. He's just like explosive attack. Okay, explosive attack. Jason Alexander, good stand up. Obviously, he has those wins over Lalcio Sakara and the win over Jardine, which made him pretty well known. And then he had his losing streak. His stand up, he has really good knees and he has really good leg kicks. His hands are pretty good too, but his knees and his leg kicks are definitely his strongest asset. He'd be really smart to use it. Obviously, Houston, he's got a pretty bad break these days, especially against his fight against Kimbo Slice, where he lost against Slice. I'm gonna go with Sokadu in this fight. Houston, he's kind of up there in the years. Doesn't have much of a ground game at all. Has kind of a weak chin too. So yeah, I definitely gotta go with Sokadu. And the main event is Keith the Dynamine Jardine versus Trevor Prangley. Prangley currently fights in Strikeforce, and he's coming off a loss over Tim Kendi. Jardine's actually coming off a 4-fight losing streak. I mean, they're all tough guys. He lost to Hamill pretty recently. He's lost to Thiago Silva. He also lost to Bader, and then he lost to Rampage. So none of those losses should really be held too much. He's been fighting the best guys, so it's understandable that he loses. But man, Jardine's got to watch his chin, man. That guy gets a chin check special all the time. And that guy, if he doesn't get knocked out, I'm always worried he's going to get dropped. The herky-jerky style will work on some, but, it's not going to work on everyone, and it's really showing. And man, that guy can't block a left hook worth his life. Jardine, despite what I'm saying though, I think he should win this. This is definitely a fight that he should win. Prangley on the feet, he's not like this one-punch KO guy. Not just that he fight, Prangley fights at middleweight a lot of times. So he fought Tim Kendi in middleweight. With Prangley, he's got really good wrestling. Likes to take you to the ground. Jardine's takedown defense is pretty good. I've seen him get taken down against like Thiago Silva pretty recently. He just got back up. He's very savvy. I will say that much about Jardine. He is very savvy. He does tend to get into brawls, which could work for him or work against his detriment. But yeah, I definitely see. I see Jardine winning this. Like I said, it's a fight he should win. I think despite the herky-jerky style, I think that he does have better stand-up. I think he'd do well if the fight hits the ground. I think he can defend the takedown well enough as well. So yeah, that's it for the MFC and Shark Fights coverage. Please visit our sponsor, Go Business 123, and please visit the C&D channel website. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you very much. Bye.